Alright guys, Abyss Beta is here. Now before we get started, I'm just going to show off the teams I used to unlock the Cosmos stage in the floor 3. The only one I want to point out is the team on the upper right, where I used Set and Leo. I think that one is the hardest one. Requires the most narrow of characters if you want to beat it in the first try. So my Lily and Leo, they don't have EX weapons, and then Sarah's the only one that has it, so that one's the most difficult. I just want to give a tip if you guys are struggling to beat it. Those characters are pretty good for that stage. Okay, so let's dive into the Cosmos stage. We have 3-9, this is Beta Cosmos. The goal is actually to try to beat all the requirements without doing multiple runs, so that's why we're using a team like this. It requires one Black Crystal user, so some good Black Crystal users right now are Zac, Squall, and Setzer. You also require some of the secondary requirements, so you also need a Greatsword user. And then Squall and Zac can fulfill both the Black and Greatsword user requirement. And then you need a Shuriken user. So some good Shuriken users are of course Leo with the EX weapon. And then Setzer as well. I did do a run with Waka, but that run was too slow to finish the score requirement. They finished at 80 turns, but you actually need about 70 turns to get the 300k score requirement. But if we look at the Greatsword users as a whole, you can use Sephiroth like I'm doing right here. Squall, Zac, Jet is a good one. Cloud, maybe I would use them. And then some really borderline characters would be Paladin, Setzer, or Beatrix as your Greatsword user. For me, they're borderline because their output's a little bit low and they might run into some trouble finishing the fight on time. And then Shuriken users I mentioned, you got Leo, Setzer. That's pretty much your best options. So this Kraken here is the hardest part of the fight. You actually want to kill him as fast as you can. You can see we're using most of Setzer's abilities on the Kraken just by himself. He's actually going to be the unit getting carried for us, but he's actually going to contribute a lot during this first wave. Since it's the most dangerous, we actually used 2 out of 3 of his freeze chokers and about half of his red cards. So he's the one going to keep us alive. If you actually don't use abilities to, deal with him, he's actually gonna HP attack. He's gonna do Brave and HP attack on one of your units and probably kill them. So you want to prevent that. But once you clear the Kraken, the only other hard stage is probably Tiamat. Tiamat, just because of the amount of defense that he has. Oh, and the Ghost Brother tech. So we're gonna actually bring friend Keistis and use her in this wave because you don't want the boss to actually resummon the ghosts. It just wastes abilities and wastes turns. And then the last slot, since we're free on this team, is just soul support. So I just chose the strongest support that can buff aura and attack and max brave, and that's Rosa. But if you don't have Rosa, Lena's obviously still good. Sarah is pretty good too. You just want to support that can buff your other units as much as I can, because Setzer is being carried, so your Greatsword user is going to have to do a lot of weight, and then also your support unit. Okay, so we can see here, we don't have many turns before he gets to resummon the ads. That's why we're bringing Quistis to delay him. And then he is prone to launches. That's why Leo is so good here. If you have Force down from Field Burst, then he's going to get launched, I think, every turn or every other turn. So anyway, we're going to bring in the Quistis, replace her in for Setzer, because Setzer's not doing much. And then just use most of her whips. Here we go, first launch. He has low chase HP, that's the reason why there's a lot of launches. And then we're just going to delay him, not let him resummon the ads. That's going to burn up a lot more turns, burn up a lot more abilities. And then another thing I want to point out is I chose to bring Sephiroth and Rosa just because they have extreme longevity. Both of them actually have free skills after they use the EX ability. So it really helps in this long fight when we're carrying, a unit like Setzer. If you weren't carrying a unit, if you're bringing like Leo with EX, it's gonna be much easier, but because we have to carry one unit, you need the unit that lasts really long. Squall, I tried Squall. He's he's strong, but he runs out really fast because he doesn't have free ability like Sephiroth does. So if you have to pair him with somebody with a lot of battery, maybe Lena, and just, you know, HP plus as much as you can. Okay, Tiamat. In my opinion, this is the second hardest wave of this fight. The last wave doesn't have much HP. There's 3 mannequins, but they die relatively fast, especially if you're packing AoE. So for that reason, we're also choosing Sephiroth. He has AoE on the EX. So his first ability, he just removes all non-frame debuffs on you. So you can just unload on him before he gets a defense buff. He can actually become really, really tanky after he self-buffs, because his defense goes up through the roof. So we're lucky there that we have an extra whip on Quistis. Get some delay, speed down, and also battery on the team. So Setzer's back. The plan is to try to conserve some abilities on him. You won't be doing much regardless of if you use abilities on Tiamat or if you don't, because his attack is just so low. And this is why you see a battery is very useful. You can just ignore his defense and just cap out your team. They can just dump it. Now this all attack is not a HP attack. It's actually just a brave attack. I think it's Thunder Shock. So, but it can paralyze some units. But just try to kill him before he does this move. Yeah, this is, you can see his defenses went way up. And we're not doing much damage at all. Even with high auras like Rosa on the team. And then this is why I brought Ifrit. Just because the attack power on such a long fight is going to be more helpful. Actually won't take any HP damage from these mobs if you play correctly. The only one that you may take HP is the first wave, but if you bring like Zack, he's going to trivialize the fight. Or Lena can just heal it up. So I just brought Ifrit to deal the most damage because that Tiamat has a lot of defense. Yeah, some of these mobs are weak to physical and range. Tifa is the one that's weak to magic. Sephiroth resists magic, so it's a little like tricky there, but they don't have much HP. You can just burst them down easily. So there's our last freeze choker. So again, Tifa is the one weak to magic. That's the one Rosa's gonna go for. And then Sephiroth can just kill the other 2 guys. And Setzer does respectable damage with the the range weakness. Yeah, so we're approaching the end here. We still have a good amount of turns to go. I believe 70 turns is the what you can get for the score requirement. It's about 300k. So I did finish before at 80 turns with Waka on the team, but that only got me 259k, so that wasn't enough. And Materia to finish both of them off. Okay, so that's it. That's the 3rd floor, and that's the Cosmos. I'll see you guys in the next one.